after sort of 3-4 weeks, how long is it then before we go, oh, well, now I've got to sit in my own head and think? The finding meaning in any event, I guess, is how we develop and how we grow as people, as individuals. And it's, I say people in society, you know, myself and people I know, how often do we go, what meaning was there in this and what can be learned from it?
Well, a question I like to ask after watching a film or seeing a show or something is, what did you make of that? That's a meaning-making question. I stole it from somewhere else, as with all of my stuff, somewhere else. But I do think that's a helpful way in. So maybe we can ask people, maybe it's what did you make in the time when we were in lockdown, or what did you make of the time we were in lockdown? That might be an interesting question to just test out on a few people. But then actually, you were vulnerable earlier, which was great, and talking about how you don't feel like you've achieved anything and that feels a bit crap, and maybe you're like, there's a sense of yourself that you've discovered in that you wouldn't have discovered if you hadn't been forced to sit at home, and you needed to achieve something in order to feel like you'd had a good day. So I think you're making of it, that discovery in itself.
I mean, I think I'm curious to see how this pans out for the for the general public, if you like. Over, I mean, 12 weeks was floated as the time scale about a fortnight ago, and I don't think we've really grasped quite how long that time period is. I mean, 12 weeks is a long time to be in the current status of limbo that we all are. And you can't just skim by on the surface for that length of time, and it could even be longer. So, I like to think through meeting yourself, already at least aware of the idea of, self-reflection, call it meditation, whatever you want, but thinking about what makes me and what I need to feel happy within myself and content and all of that. There's been so much drive recently for, let's talk about mental health, let's destigmatize it. Let's see, this is the crunch time, really. How are people going to cope? I mean, I'm seeing certain girls I know on Instagram just constantly uploading memory photos of, here's me and the girls at this point, here's me on holiday last year. What happened? I mean, I'd find that dull as anything now, but once you've got past, or once you've done that, all right, I'm now living off the previous memories. After sort of 3-4 weeks, how long is it then before we go, oh, well, now I've got to sit in my own head and think?
It's the classic, all of man's problems stem from not being able to sit quietly in a room alone. Now we're literally being forced to sit quietly on our own.
I mean, I think,
but we're doing everything we can to avoid doing that. Anyway. It's the law.
I mean, your TikTok, this. I just don't get it. But it's just noise, as far as I'm concerned. Now it's these short clips that are just, you can scroll it to, while you're walking downstairs, while you're going to stick the kettle on, to prevent this necessary time alone. And how is that then going to manifest? We've got a whole generation of people that have spent 12 weeks in solitude with just noise and, inane information darting into the head. What's that going to do to the collective mentality, the collective mental well-being of the nation if we are unable to self-reflect?
Totally.
And grow from this experience.
The theory would say, if you can't learn, if you can't reflect and make meaning, you can't accept the grief. So basically you stay in denial, anger, bargaining, or depression, or you just cycle around them forever if you can't actually make meaning out of it. That would be what the theory states. And also, have you ever read Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor Frankl? Have you ever come across this book?
I think it's referenced quite a lot in 12 Rules for Life.
I bet it is
I've
an
not read that one.
absolute whopper of a book. It's amazing. The guy that survived the concentration.
Oh, yes, I was going to say, yes, that's the,
Yeah. Yet again, well, yeah. So he survives, and then it's his reflections on how did I survive and what did I learn about what it meant to be a human being, basically. And one of the fundamental lessons that comes out of it is if you have a meaning, you can endure any suffering. Basically, if you have something to live for that's bigger than you, higher purpose, or sense of truth, or this is for something, you can endure suffering. That's basically one of the like core truths in Man's Search for Meaning. It's amazing. And again, that all ties into everything we're talking about, I think. So maybe that's the challenge. Lay down the challenge, like what meaning are we gonna make of it?
Yeah. So to ask you a question, so what meaning are you finding keeping you going at the moment?
Yeah, it's a good question. I'm still discovering. I think I don't feel like I need to rush it. It'll probably happen organically, and then in 6 months I'll be like, oh yeah, that was what I learned when I was in lockdown. But what direction am I going in? Yeah, I do feel it's made me feel very grateful for what I have, and it's kind of it's shone a light on, hey, look at how fortunate you are to live the life that you're living. That's basically nothing to do with you. You just I mean, as I've also been writing a master's essay that's about what's shaped me in the way that I work now, and it's a very reflective piece, I think. And one of the things I noticed in writing that essay was how arrogant it is to assume that my behaviour has caused the circumstances in my life to be what they are. It's more likely the other way around. Circumstances in my life cause me to be the person that I am a lot of the time. And I do have free will and agency in that, definitely. But I just reflected on, man, so fortunate. Beth and I are in like the top 1% of people who we have food, we have money, we have a house, we have fluffy animals. We can like go, we can go on a run or a bike ride or whatever. Like
I mean that's something I've got from it. How grateful I am that I am currently young, fit and healthy. I am able to go out in the sunshine and run for best part of 2 hours. That's
right. Yeah.
And
grateful and conscious of that.
It's never a bad thing to whatever they call it, check your bloody privilege or whatever it is.